And so I just kind of Googled it, right? And I was able to find floor time, thankfully. And I signed up for the free consultation. And that's the thing. That's where I found the hope, because my role was just like all over the place. Like, what is autism? When we got the diagnosis, we got the written form, but then the psychiatrist actually talked with us. And I mean, she was like, please, I don't want to give you any false hope. So don't expect him to ever speak. Don't expect him to ever, socialize. And I just was crying and crying. And the thing is, will I ever get to know my son? I love my son, but will I get to know him? Will he ever be able to play with his brother? All those just. So when I did the free consultation, and sorry, that's where I got the hope. That's all I really needed, was just a little glimpse, that it is possible that he may speak one day. It is possible that he may be best friends with his brother one day. And that's all I really needed, was just a little door, a little crack in the door. And that's what the folks at ICDL did for me, and my husband really wasn't really on board, not really, because he's kind of like, oh, he'll grow out of it. Not understanding, right? Because we're so brand new to this world, and we still are. We really are. But I just went with it. I had the faith and hope, and that's what that one call did for us. And so, or for me anyway. And later on, my husband came on the bandwagon. But he didn't tell me at that time, because he actually was on that call, that first initial call as well. But when he started to see the progress Joel was doing, and mind you, we've been in the program, the home DIR floor time program, the virtual coaching, not that long. I believe it's like 4 months, 3.5 months, something like that. And yet we've seen so much progress. Like, before floor time, there were times where I would just, when Joel is sleeping, I would just cuddle up to him, because that's the only time I was able to hold him. And it's like, oh, my son, I would cry, and I would say, I know you're in there. Mommy's going to try so very hard to figure it out. And in the course of this 4 months or so, I wrote down in my journal, and I also shared it with those at ICDL, that I found him. I found my son through floor time, and the hope that I received from floor time to keep going. Still, he's in there. And there was a moment where I looked at him and he looked at me, but there was this connection. And I was like, I'm so glad that those that early intervention had encouraged me to go in this direction, because even at the time of the diagnosis, they said there's so much resources out there. And she warned me or cautioned me not to be overwhelmed. And that is the reason why I asked the folks at early intervention, and they had no hesitation. Floor time's the way to go. And so I'm so grateful, because being a parent, you don't have much dispensable energy. And so I'm so glad that I was able to cut through, the trial and error, in other words, and I could just go. And I'm so grateful that I'm on this path.